It's time for Andrew Palmer Presents, and today we've got Sean Barton meeting Eileen Lonergan. He's a plugin developer and you're going to love his stuff.
Hello, today I am here with Sean Barton, the popular plugin developer for IT Tortoise, who has given us the Divi layout injector and just launched today the Woo layout injector. So I pulled Sean off of his coding marathon to chat with us and give us a behind the scenes. So Sean, in honor of being here, I've got my British coffee cup because it's morning for me. William and Kate.
That's very patriotic. We don't really do that a great deal here, to be honest.
Of course not. So when you're walking down, like, you know, what is it, the Oxford Road or whatever, and you say, who are the idiots that buy this crap? It's me.
Americans, yeah.
Americans.
Yeah. You rather.
Eileen, you can name names.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I also have the slippers, green fuzzy with Harrods in gold thread. Yeah.
Well, you have to have and you have to have the Harrods bag as well. You have to go to Harrods to buy the carrier bag. It's just a green carrier bag with Harrods written on the side.
Yeah.
You go in and buy something for £5 or £6 just to get the bag.
Just to get the bag, or you can buy them already that have like the soldiers walking. What are they called with the bear hats?
The Beefeaters, aren't they?
Oh, the Beefeaters, right. Yes, you can get those, or the London bus.
I should add I live maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours by car away from London. So
you're out of the fray.
Yeah, things are somewhat different up north where I live.
Well, I'm going to send you a mug.
Great. Well, thanks. Yeah.
All right, let's jump in. Give us a little, before we start the behind the scenes tour with our docent guide. Tell us a little bit about Woo Layout Injector.
Okay. I've been using WooCommerce for a couple of years now, and maybe only recently picking up Divi as being my sort of main sort of theme to use for sites that I build. And although I've been developing sites for a long time, this sort of market of people, or group of people who haven't got such a sort of in-depth level of experience perhaps, and just want to get things done quickly, myself included actually, need plugins that can sort of facilitate just making life easier. So with regards to WooCommerce, its layout is pretty fixed in most sites. There are pretty simple ways to override the layouts, but it does involve getting into the code and messing around, or buying a child theme or something that has a predefined layout built in. And a lot of people don't need or want that level of interaction with their sites. Just don't need it. I prefer to use a stock Divi install and a couple of plugins to make life easier. So off the back of a plugin I wrote recently, which just allows you to mess around with the global layout of any Divi site, it became apparent that WooCommerce didn't have much flexibility within Divi. And so Woo Layout Injector was born.
So Woo Layout Injector was born out of...
The name seems to change by the hour, but...
But that was born out of Divi Layout Injector, right?
Yeah, Divi Layout Injector was sort of my first sort of foray into messing around with the global layouts within Divi. And it got me thinking that actually I use WooCommerce a lot, and there is really nothing you can do just out of the box with Divi. In fact, a lot of themes, in fact, to make the product pages look anything other than what you get. So, you'll have the title, description, buy it now, etc. on one side with an image next to it and the tabs below, and that's what you're given. And if you want anything different, you either open up your code editor or you have to start sort of installing child themes and things to mess around with it. There are a few plugins on the market that will do it. This isn't a unique feature, but it's the first one that has been specifically designed for Divi and the Divi page builder specifically, so Divi Extra, any other themes as well. And it just makes life a lot easier, really. To be able to drag and drop different modules around, to be able to lay out the single product page is quite powerful. So, I mean, if you like, I can run you through how you use it.
That would be great.
Hopefully I don't mess this one up. So let's learn how to share the screen straight away then, shall we? Bear with me. It's not showing the wrong screen. Right. You should have my screen shared now, do you?
I do.
Oh, good. Good. That's progress. Okay, so ignore the hundreds of plugins I've got on this test site. It's just the plugins menu in the back end of a normal WordPress site. And I've got at the bottom here, what do we call it?
Woo. I know. Look at all this. Woo Layout Injector. I see it.
There you go. Woo Layout Injector. So we're going to activate it. And nothing appears to happen, which is great. But what you will find is in the settings menu down here, you'll have a very simple admin page, Woo Layout Injector, which, I mean, I've used it before, so obviously it's pre-selected, but that would say none. And all you have to do is assign a layout. So let's go and build a layout. So I've had some feedback, so some people like to build layouts as pages and then export them. It's not possible because of the way that we work, so we'll go straight into the library interface here. So really easy stuff. So we hover over Divi library.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah, of course.
The really good thing about working in the library is that it's much easier to make modifications. If you make something in your page or a post and then you save that page, if you go to edit it, then it doesn't automatically update. You can't save like the same name and overwrite. It's a little bit confusing. So sort of as a best practice, if you think you're going to save any layouts or modules, it's great to work in the library from the get-go.
I mean, I think as a sort of a developer, I like to build things as a layout and then assign content to a layout. It's fairly natural to me. Some people might prefer to do it the other way around, but you're right, it does make it quite cumbersome doing it the way that you suggest. Now, I think you can do quite a lot with specialized layouts and global layouts, which are very, very powerful. Actually, I never really got along with those sorts of those features. I'm sure I will, but the Divi library is where I feel comfortable. And actually, the page is called layouts. This is kind of what we're doing here. I mean, this is built into Divi. I've got a few here which we can ignore for now. So we're just going to go ahead and add new. Now you get the pop-up. We're just going to call it, I don't know. We'll just do it called test form. Doesn't matter. This is never seen. Template type, I choose layout. In all honesty, I have no idea what the difference between any of these are. Layout seems to be the most flexible. so lots of elegant themes fans here are going to be cursing me. But yeah, layout is the one to use. And that will open up a standard Divi builder instance here where we can basically go ahead and create our layout. So let's just make something very, very basic. Standard layout here. Now, what my plugin does is it will add, and good they're there, which is it's a bonus, it adds a number of additional modules into the page builder, which, if you know WooCommerce, should be very familiar. They are, in any product page, you're going to want a title, you're going to want a description, price, buy it now button, image. And there's a whole other load of stuff which gets added as well by default.
So, Sean, is like the ET Woo upsell and ET Woo tabs, is that all because of your plugin?
Yeah, anything ET Woo, but the plugin's gone through a few revisions of names and things. ET Elegant Themes, Woo's Woo.
But I'm sorry, I meant if you don't have the plugin, but you have WooCommerce installed, you will not see those modules.
No, the only thing you'll see without my plugin installed would be the shop.
Got it. Got it.
I don't think it's triggered by WooCommerce. It may not be. I don't know. But shop is the one that, when you add the shop module, that creates a product grid or a product list, which is the normal product page, the product archive, if you will. That's still necessary. You can use the standard Woo layout, or you can use the shop module as here, elsewhere, build your page. What we're talking about with this plugin specifically are the single product pages. So when you drill down to get to a product page, this is what you're going to see. Now, there aren't any modules at all. The page builder isn't compatible with the WooCommerce product pages. So Elegant Themes haven't gone, or the builder at least hasn't gone anywhere near Woo with regards to this. So these extra modules really are the different parts of a normal WooCommerce single product page, it's a mouthful for you, broken out into individual modules that they could do some work. We can add in a bunch of extra options over the course of the next couple of weeks, months, whatever, just to make the plugin that much better. But now it works really well. We've achieved some really nice layouts in testing. I just like to get people out there using it. We've had loads of people who are interested in it. And, I'm fed up of having to tell people it's coming soon, or what I tell people, hey, go and have a look.
Yeah, go and have a look. Will you build us a page right now?
Yeah, of course, that's what we'll go for. So we'll just add, I'll just whiz through this. So we'll add a title, which is just, we don't worry about the options on these. A lot of them only will have 3 options because that's fairly standard. We can make it better in future versions. So for now, we're just going to press save straight away. Nicely, so we'll get the title of the product. Below that, let's stick the product description. So we've got product content. Here we go, ET Woo content. Now, I added a little yes, no button in here. Within WooCommerce, you have the option to have a short product description and a long product description. So by default, it shows the long description, but if you check the box, it's going to show the short one instead. So the idea would be you'd use 2 of these modules. You might want to put the short description at the top somewhere and have the full description further down the page. Entirely up to you. So for now, we'll leave it as the full. So there you go. We've got the title and the content. And let's go across to the right-hand column here. And we'll scroll down again and maybe add the product image. But the image I've done a bit more work on. You can do things like select the size of the, which is by name. So it's if you're a developer, you'll recognize these names. If you're not, you'll be able to feel your way through. But large is large, medium is medium. It's quite straightforward. But you can change the size of product images within WooCommerce, but it can be a bit cumbersome. So this is kind of an on-the-fly change. This is the featured image for any product. So let's set that to large. No particular reason, just it fell underneath my mouse. Now, by default, you'll have a single product image, and below that you'll have a grid of thumbnails as a gallery, a few extra images. You can turn that off here. One thing I thought was really cool in testing was the ability to have a product image, and then below, somewhere else on the page, have a nice grid of thumbnails to show sort of secondary images that perhaps you don't want to have quite so much real estate at the top of the page. Push them down a little bit, get some descriptions in there, whatever else you want. So that's a yes, no. The thumbnail size and columns are related to the thumbnails, so hopefully self-explanatory, but we'll leave it as large for now. And we'll leave the thumbnails in. And let's go ahead and add the price and the buy now. So create a really simple page, ET Woo price. There's no options for that, so we leave it in. And then ET Woo, where is it? Add to cart. There you go. So we've got a fairly simple page made very quickly. It would have been faster if I wasn't talking. And we'll just hit update. So we have a layout now, which is built. We've called it call test 1. So the final thing to do is to go ahead and assign it. So we'll go to settings, Woo layout injector, and we'll just assign that layout. So call test 1 and save. And now on the front end of the site here, so we'll just go to, now, this is just a bunch of test information, so ignore it. We'll just go to my shop page, which I've turned WooCommerce off, haven't I? Excuse me. I should add, before the call, I turned off every single plugin, and unfortunately, the one I turned off as well was WooCommerce. So Hopefully the shop page will work now. There you go. Right. It'll be all right on the night. So I've got a bunch of test images and things here. This is a standard Woo layout. It's just built into Divi, so there's no messing around. We'll go into a product, and what this plugin has done now it's a wonderful example because there's loads of thumbnails, but we have the title. Let me open another tab here, and we'll just go over what each section does. So we'll go into Divi library. So we should be able to see directly that we've got two columns. Most of the stuff is in the left-hand column and the images are on the right. So we'll come over here, title, description, price, and buy now with the images on the right. Now, as we can see, this is not a very nice layout, so let's make it better. So let's go ahead and make it 3 columns. There you go, 3 columns. And we'll take off all those thumbnails because there's loads of them. So we'll hide the thumbnails and we'll maybe put what should we put over there?
How about maybe related or reviews?
Yeah, we'll go reviews. I don't think I've got any related products set up on this side.
Okay.
Okay, so sometimes reviews need quite a wide slot to go into, but it'll be a great example of how it works. There you go. So yeah, you could do with a bit more space, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And let's now maybe do, like I said before, we've taken away all those extra gallery images, so let's put them back across the bottom of the screen.
Oh.
So we'll go ahead and we'll add a row with 1 column, and then we'll go, and now I've created a second module for this. So you have the Woo product image, which is everything that's in the big image and the small images below, with the option to turn off the small images, but the thumbnails are specifically the small images. And again, we can mess around with the size. So let's say we'll have, I don't know, 8 columns, and we'll make them all of medium, large size. It's just something you can tinker with really quickly to change the layout entirely of this page, you know, without having to do any coding whatsoever. So there you go, you've got all those different images. We've got 8 columns, nice and easy. I'm sure all of the people that are going to use this are going to do a much better job than me at making their pages look pretty. But let me deactivate the plugin and show you what the difference is between sort of the before and after. So there's no residual code or anything that's going to be left, I don't believe. I hope not anyway. If you turn the plugin off, alternatively, you can just unlink the... We'll work out this. This is something I haven't tried before, so we'll see. Right. Okay, so this is the standard page. This is what you get without my plugin being activated. You'll get the image on the left-hand side. You'll get all the thumbnails. You'll get the tabs. You'll get related products that look like this. This is standard Divi stuff. That is not, to me, a very pretty page. Whereas this, we did that in 2 minutes, you know?
Right.
So I'm hoping that that's something that people will be interested in. So far, the feedback's been quite good.
I think it's great.
Oh, good. I'm glad you think so.
I do think so. I think all of the thumbnail images, I mean, they look so good with the different angles of the shirt, the front, the back.
Yeah, sure. I think, you know, I've got loads of ideas of how to extend this plugin. Things like different layouts for different categories, different layouts for different roles. So, you know, logged out people, you might not want to see the buy now button. You might want to hide the pricing. You know, there's so many different things we can do with it. And, you know, I'd like people to have a go with it, to see what they think, you know, and to make some suggestions, and I'll go ahead and change it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's version 1, so I'm really pleased with the way it's gone so far.
I am too. I think it's amazing that you've got all those optional modules in there.
Sure. I mean, by default, everything's going to be included. I'm just trying to find it again. Woo, there we go. It's I need to have fewer plugins on my test site, I think. Woo layout injector, there we go.
There we go.
So it's fairly safe, you know, if you turn it off, and as soon as you activate the plugin again, it remembers what you had selected, and straight away you're back in there with your layout. Now, that's going to affect every single product page. So some people have asked for the ability to lay out individual products specifically, as if to say, make the Divi layout builder available on this page. But there's so many things going on this page and all these different extra settings at the bottom that although it may be possible, it'll be very cumbersome and really suited to only a very small portion of the market. So this, do it once centrally and then forget about it is something that, I think that will be beneficial to a lot of people.
I agree, especially for just getting started, and then you can tweak it. And it's actually really nice to have consistency across your products.
Sure.
So people know, okay, the price is here, the image is here, here's where I find reviews. I mean, people I think appreciate a standard format.
Sure. Yeah. I think around the sort of e-commerce market, there's, people want to try an awful lot of things, to move things around, to see what works, to mess around with the sort of things like the split testing, to try and, to try and get more sales in. I mean, that's why people sell stuff, to get money in.
Right.
And, there's, I think, that plugins like this, and I mean, not just this one, other plugins as well, obviously, other plugins are available, will allow people to kind of really go nuts, do what they want. And again, I've not yet opened a code editor at all, obviously to write it, but, people that end up using the plugin, I've given it a couple of preview copies away, and the people who I've sent it to have been really helpful in sort of directing me a little bit about how they would like to use it. And so it's sort of come together based on a lot of feedback that I've had. And so far the feedback's all been good, which is great. So
it is great. Do you have a moment could you show us the Divi layout injector for anybody who maybe hasn't seen that yet?
Yeah, no worries. So the layout injector plugin is similar to this. I mean, the Woo injector plugin is designed to replace the entire layout on the entire page of just specifically products. So below the header, above the footer, and it changes the layout. The layout injector plugin that I started off with initially, would you believe, was designed to edit the footer. I mean, this designed by Elegant Themes, powered by WordPress. It's lovely to have it and great. We all like to give Elegant Themes their credit. Clients don't like that though, particularly mine. I mean, I find that if I'm developing a site for somebody, and they're paying me as the developer to make something which may have been designed by a graphic designer or something that I put together, they don't always want credits back. They might want a copyright in the footer of their own, which is fairly sensible. They might want anything else in the footer. And so it came from the need to change this without having to use a child theme or edit the core WordPress files. And so Layout Injector was kind of born, really. So let's go ahead and find it if I can remember the name. I think this one actually is Divi Layout Injector. There we go. That's good, isn't it? So we've got Divi Layout Injector. I've just activated it. And again, in settings, we've got Divi Layout Injector showing. And I've changed the admin interface recently, so anybody that's purchased it previously will see something slightly different, but it's effectively the same thing, but just not as pretty. So a lot of these are hopefully easy to understand sections. They are just the same thing repeated over and over again. So you've got here pre-content, post-content, pre-header. Now those relate to places on the page where we can inject different pieces of layout builder content, but we'll come back to that. So right in the footer, ironically, of the settings page, we've got a simple copyright line in a WYSIWYG here. And in this box, you can type whatever you want. If you empty the box out completely, the footer will change back to the standard, where are we? Here we go. Standard designed by Elegant Themes footer.
It's getting, Sean, it's slightly getting cut off on the screen. Would you maybe just minimize your screen a tiny bit? So
yeah, sure. Sorry about this. I'll just try and hopefully, can you see that anymore?
No.
No.
And maybe it's just because I have the toolbar for the video recorder. Oh, here we go. Now we can see it.
Let's work on the assumption that the footer's there. But
yes, I see it now. Okay.
So it says designed by Elegant Themes, powered by WordPress. And as soon as you activate the plugin on page, there we go. Come back to this one here. You go to the settings page, which is a bit more comprehensive than the last one, but there's a lot more you can do with this plugin. you can go ahead and change it. Now I've got these short codes in here. These really are just for example purposes, but I've given you an idea up here about what you could write. Any short code that WordPress provides, you can put into the footer. I don't know why you would, but you're very welcome to. So we've got copyright, the date, and then the name of the site. So that is sort of the default, really. Nice and easy. So as soon as we activate the plugin, we can go ahead and refresh and really hope there's not a conflict. There we go. Copyright 2006, test WP. Nothing else is going to change apart from the big purple bar, which I should quickly remove as I haven't got to that section of the demonstration yet. Here we go. So these, before I explain what they are, I'll just like to disable them quickly and then come back to it because it's going to get awkward otherwise. Here we go. Let's save it. Right, let's refresh it again. So what we've got now is the same product page that we had before, and the only thing that's actually changed here is the copyright and the footer. So that was its primary function. And then I got to thinking, well, what else can we do? What else can we do to make people's lives easier? Instead of having to use a child theme or mess around with some really complicated layouts, let's change some things. And so we thought, well, okay, well, one thing you might want to do is to have a standard header on each page, something which sits below the Divi kind of header at the top, but above the content. And so I'll put something in. There's another position above the main header, so you might want to have a really nice big banner or something above the menu, which I've seen done a few times. So so we have a pre-header position and we have a pre-content position, which is where my mouse is here. I hope you can see it. We have a post-content position, which is right at the bottom before the footer. And then, weirdly, in the same place, we have one that's called pre-footer. Because certain templates use the post-footer and certain don't. So pre-footer. So I like to use the pre-footer layout to show things like if you're developing a site for somebody that has services or wants to have, let's say, I've used them for things like testimonials, sliders at the bottom. So every page on the site, you think, hey, right at the bottom of the site is going to have some testimonials. And so we'll put it in the footer here. Now, how do you do that normally? Well, you can use a global module, but then you have to go and add it to every single layout on the front end, and it's very cumbersome to me.
Right.
And so
I have some blogger clients, and at the bottom of every blog post, they type out for more behind the scenes, visit me on Pinterest, or and I share a lot on Snapchat and yada, yada, yada. And so this is a perfect example of how you, and I have another one that has her signature, which is in an image. So she inserts that every time. So this is another example of where this plugin would be useful.
It would be useful. I mean, this plugin would put the content on every single page. There are filters to hide it in certain cases. So
but if you could put it just on posts.
Yes, you can. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a post content layout here.
Right.
For example, I mean, a lot of these are standard. They come with Divi. Some of them are ones I've added otherwise, but the majority come with Divi. So, don't worry about the size of this menu. This is why when you add a layout, give it a meaningful name, and then you'll find it in the list really easily. Right. It's a set and forget thing. You do it once, never do it again.
Yeah.
So you pick a part of the page you want to inject into. Pre-content, top of the page, post-content, bottom of the page, nice and easy. You choose a layout, and then you would choose, if you want to, if you leave them all blank, then every page would benefit from that addition to the layout. If you choose certain pages, then it would only show, so if you say posts, for example, and you want to put the signature there, you choose a layout which is relevant to a post footer, click the post button, and it's only going to appear there on the post section. So what we'll do first of all, quickly, is we'll just go ahead and make a layout as we did before with the library system. So just to remind people how to do it, I mean, some people would like to make them from within pages like we talked about earlier, and then save that to the library and then re-add it later. You can do that with this plugin, that's fine, because we're dealing with pages and posts, but I like to do it this way. So we'll go to layouts, we'll just add call test 2, and we'll just add layout. Again, doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be global because the plugin makes it global, so it's no problem. We edit in one place only. And so we've got a simple test here. We'll have 3 columns. I'll just grab some from up here. There you go. And we'll put some text modules in. See our elegant themes ones there from earlier. Don't use those unless you're on the product page. But so we've got text, and we'll just paste this in here just so we've got something. And we'll duplicate it a couple of times. Here you go. So we have a layout there, and we can just change the background color to something that's rather severe. Here you go. Let's do some nice pink, shall we? There you go. And we'll save. Now, call test 2. So we can then go back to our layout injector page here and assign that to different parts of the page. We'll come back to 404, although I think it's self-explanatory. We'll definitely come back to that. We have a pre-header layout, so we'll assign that to there, call test 2. We have a pre-content, we'll assign that as well, and we'll just do it to everything, why not? And I'll just show you where these things are going to be placed. So there we go. So just simply choosing from a drop-down, choosing the layout we just created, and that's it. We've saved the page. Now we go back to the front end of the site, and we'll just pick a page. So have I got anything? Home page, for example, here. So hopefully you get the idea from what we're seeing here. So at the top of every single page of the site, you'll now find a pre-header, because I've assigned it. You'll find a pre-content, because I just assigned that as well. And then at the bottom, you should see this twice. We have post-content and pre-footer. Probably not a wonderful example, so we'll go ahead and change a couple of those out for ones I've done before. So pre-footer, I think I have one called Andy Test. There we go. We'll change that one to Andy Test. Can't remember what colour that one was, but okay, we'll just give it a refresh here. There you go. So whilst I was demonstrating this to somebody else, I was saying, well, okay, well, we have the post content, which you can use the checkboxes to show and hide. So this can be your follow me on Pinterest, share this on Facebook, etc., which would only show on posts. And then every other part of the site could then have, for example, sliding testimonials and galleries, anything you like. This black section here is the standard Divi footer widget area. So that's unaffected by this. And again, still we have the footer that's been changed here. So this is not had a child theme used. As you can tell, it's not a very pretty looking site, but I like to think it does the job. So for instance, in the pre-header, we can have a big image. I had a great picture of a shoe up there before. The pre-header, the pre-content, you might want to put anything. You could put a menu if you want. It doesn't have to be a massive module. It could just be a few links on the right-hand side if you really wanted to. Then you have the actual page content entirely unaffected by the plugin. Using Page Builder or not using Page Builder doesn't matter. So this is just the normal content for that page. And then the footer. I don't know about you, but when you develop a site that, at the bottom of if a site doesn't have a great deal of content, or there's a lot of content you want to repeat, particularly sort of local services, that like to have the Divi blurbs modules, so we like to set a nice grey or something, or a nice blue, and have a few blurbs there showing, which works great with the Divi animation. So as you scroll down the page, the blurbs all come into view and they're all animated, and it looks wonderful. So certainly makes life very, very easy. So this was my initial sort of big plugin for Divi, and it's been quite popular so far. Loads of people are using it at the moment, and we're getting some great feedback. So
right. So one sort of side tip, it's very helpful for local search engine optimization to have your business address, the towns that you service, and so you could easily, you could put that in the footer, of course, or you could put it right in here.
Yeah, of course. The footer you can only use once. The standard Divi footer, yes, it's on every single page on the site. You get a number of different layout options, which are in effect just a replacement for the page builder. So why they didn't provide a page builder instance here, I don't know. It doesn't really matter because we did. So this one here, I've just got a few widgets, which may include your address and some sharing stuff, but that's very inflexible. What happens if you wanted your address? Maybe you wanted a Google map at the bottom of the site. Maybe above that you wanted some blurbs. And this is all after you go through the main content on the site. Anyway, it looks a bit weird because I've just added this pink everywhere.
That's okay. we get it.
So finally then, just before I stop talking for a moment, take a breath, we've got a couple more features. One One is to hide the header entirely. That's quite a nice one. That's something that somebody in the community asked for recently. Hopefully it works. There you go. So it's gone. You know, it removes the logo. I mean, the Divi header is great, but you can kind of tell, you know, it's Divi, or rather it's very standard. You have a couple of predefined logo positions, and I found not much flexibility. For instance, if you wanted to have the logo in the middle and the phone number off to one side and the email address off to the other side, I actually had to use Injector to use the pre-header option here, and then use CSS to hide the menu. This physically removes the menu altogether. So you can add the logo as an image yourself. You can really customize it as much as you want. Some Divi purists might not like that, but hey, it was asked for and it took 5 minutes, so I chucked it in. So that was good fun.
And so when you check that box, it takes it off the entire website.
Yes, I've just unchecked it again now.
Yeah.
I'll go and refresh, and there you go, it's back again. I'm going to remove some of this pink, actually. It's a bit noxious. There we go. So I've just taken those layouts off, and it is as easy as just that. You know, I did nothing but choose from 2 drop downs and press save, and then the site was changed. So we're now using the post content and pre-footer and the standard Divi footer, and we've had this nice sort of, you can imagine it would have been better had I prepared some real content, but
no, it's
so I lost you there.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, okay, so finally, one thing that you didn't have a great deal of control over with Divi is the 404 template, you know, the page not found. So if somebody comes to your site, types in the URL, doesn't exist, they'll end up on a 404 page. Now, people like to customize those, quite understandably. You know, I mean, I don't by default because I'm too lazy, but I'm not making the big bucks. So we've got 2 options here, something which a lot of people won't have seen because this was only released a few days ago. You can choose a layout, so build a layout in the Divi library as you would have done before, and choose from the drop-down as otherwise. One thing I did recently was the ability to flip that to a page, and then that way you can go ahead and in your pages area, make a layout, test it, see how it looks, save it, you know, do what you want with it, and then any bad requests that come to the site will go straight to that page automatically. So I go ahead and say, so the layout is a layout that will just show. You've seen that before, but the page, let's go to 404 page and press save. So if I go to the site and mush the keyboard, that should then forward me to 404 page at the top where I've got a contact form and some other blurb at the top.
That's great. And I think 404 pages are a ranking for SEO. I think you have one that's helpful.
The industry, I'm afraid, but I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, the layout version is slightly, sometimes we have issues with the layout one, so I put the page one in as well. But if you want to do quite a complicated layout, go ahead and use page. If you just want to say 404 not found, use the layout. It's really a preference thing.
Okay, that's great.
Anything.
Some 404 pages are really a load of fun.
Yeah, they can be. Yeah, I've seen lots of different really clever stuff on that. I think.
Right, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. I've seen some, particularly a few web hosting companies I've seen sometimes have had a bit of spare time on their hands and made some really nice 404 pages. But so here's a 404 page using a layout. Quite simple, but it's not. It's nothing special. The advantage of using a layout is the URL doesn't change. So if you want to say, your search for whatever, this page does not exist, please try related content, then the URL is still whatever you went to. The page approach physically redirects you to a page. So this will then say 404 page or whatever you've called it. So you do have more control over the slug with the page approach. So, I just thought I'd leave it in there. Like you say, it's fairly SEO rich and not knowing a great deal about that sort of area of the market. I thought, well, I'll leave it to guys who do know. So at least I've given you the flexibility there to go ahead and play with it yourselves. But wow, there's a lot to do on there, isn't there? I'm really pleased with the plugin, actually. Again, I'm pleased with all my plugins. This one has been a game changer. I mean, I write a lot of sites these days, you know, one every sort of day or two really, for sort of some sort of small businesses around the local area, and particularly for sort of tradesman sites where they just want a couple of pages, a few pictures, a gallery, you know, some blurbs, and we hand it over. You know, really easy stuff. And I don't want to have to install Divi, install a child theme, and you know, get into the code with sites like that. I really just want to, you know, install Divi, install Layout Injector, and make the site. And it does absolutely everything. And I can honestly say that the last 10, 15 sites that I've written since writing Layout Injector have all had this plugin on. So yeah, it saved me a lot of time and money. I hope it will other people as well.
Yeah, I think it's great. I just recently started using it, and once you use it, you say, oh, wow, that's really, and like you say, I mean, we all love Divi, and the design is beautiful, but at this point, I think we're all trying to just tweak it a little bit, and this really opens up a whole new creativity option for you, especially with the header, being able to
Yeah.
you know, modify that, the big picture. I like that idea. I think it's great.
I like the ability to do stuff in the footer. I think that pages that don't have a great deal of content or have a few paragraphs and a couple of images really benefit. And I like to see a page which is a good healthy length. Not, you know, not talking, you know, scrolling for hours, but I'd like to see a scroll bar, because I like to put some really useful information in the footer so it's always there. So I find myself adding a lot of footer information, but, you know, I would just add Divi Layout Injector just to change the footer copyright, because I'd much rather add a plugin and change something in a WYSIWYG than I would add a child theme, which seems overkill just for changing one sentence at the bottom of the site. Which again, if you're using a child theme, you still then have to get into the code to do anything with the footer or the header, in fact. So, you know, you still have to kind of get your hands dirty to make the site look anything other than stock Divi. So this has been a bit of a game changer for me, actually.
It's a huge game changer. Okay, so give us a little bit of like the behind the scenes. Do you create plugins when you see a need, or you just are always, people reach out to you in the community, or you see everybody complaining about the same thing and say, I can fix that?
I'd like to say that it's all planned and that I have this sort of master plan and empire that I'm building, but actually I build a lot of sites. I mean, I've been developing sites for about 10 years now. I've been using WordPress as my own sort of specialism for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And, you know, it's been a real passion of mine for a long time. I've been a member of the sort of the LinkedIn WordPress groups for a while. I like to get on there every now and again, help people out. And again, you know, sometimes a plugin comes off the back of that. Sometimes it's just a way to spend the evening. The Divi group has been really good fun, actually. I've got a lot of ideas from there, because there's loads of people who have some really great sites, but who want a load of advice and feedback, and how do I do this, how do I do that? Well, you know, I like to be able to provide that. You know, I'm not looking to make loads of money off everybody, but it's not really about that. It's more about writing a product that I'm going to use, but actually everybody else might find useful as well. Because ultimately, these plugins are here to actually save us money. Yeah, you have to buy them. Yeah, you have to buy everything in life. That's fine. But once you've got a copy, then, you know, you just use it again and again, and it has saved me hours. So a lot of the plugins that I have developed so far have come from my own necessity, my own need, because in doing sites for my own clients, I've wanted to do things, make them look a certain way. And yes, I have the coding ability to jump in there and to do it, but again, quite lazy. And you know, I've only really just got into sort of page builders very recently. Always been a bit of a coding purist. I like to do things how I would consider to be properly, but actually I'm really, really pleased with the Divi builder. And so I just use it for everything now. I don't see a point in going further in. I like to spend my time, and therefore the client's budget, on giving them the extra value that they want, rather than spending all the time writing the thing in the first place to then have to make it better on my own butt later on.
Right.
So yeah, there's a few products and things in the pipeline. A lot of them are layout based, actually. I think layouts are key at the minute.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be able to, just like I've done with the Woo layout injector, I'd like to be able to give people the option to change the layout entirely for different post types, for instance. But then I'm doing things like trying to build in some companion support. So I use advanced custom fields quite a lot, particularly for the bigger sites. Right, they're really, really useful plugin. But and something somebody mentioned on the forum the other day, actually, that there isn't actually an easy way of getting custom fields, which you've added through advanced custom fields, into layouts that you've done. And I've just got loads of ideas now later in my mind about what I'd like to do. So, but I've put a few calls out there, a few developer friends and a few sort of clients of mine to say, look, what would you like the site to do? Is there anything that we can make easier for you? And each site that we do gets more complicated in terms of its design, which is a good thing, but it doesn't take any longer because we've got the tools available now to do it with.
Right, which is key. And one sort of little tip as a web designer, business owner that I've done is with every site, particularly when I was getting started, I would buy one little thing. So maybe it was an $11 plugin, maybe it was a $25 plugin, maybe it was a $100 font, something, just because it was then like part of building my library of resources.
Sure.
And it would help my business. And then you're not sort of stuck all of a sudden saying, oh my gosh, I need 10 things, or I'm way behind in, investing in my business, know? Yeah. So that's one sort of little way to go about getting.
I agree. I'm a big fan of working smart, not working hard. Emphasis on not working hard. Yeah. I like to be able to get things in and out the door. It's not that I don't want to spend time on people's sites, but I would I would achieve the same results, assuming, of course, I had the right tools for it. I mean, when custom post types first came into WordPress a few years ago, they were real game changers, but with them came a lot of problems in getting the things registered, and then how do you get fields associated with them, and how do you get layouts associated with them. And it's sort of worked its way up now, because custom post types used to be typically for plugin developers to sort of dump their functionality into, and for slightly higher end theme developers to make sites do more, but within the sort of WordPress ecosystem. Well, Divi now is, I think, needs to have the same sort of support, really. I mean, it's I find myself using different layouts, trying to just separate my pages into groups and things, which are sometimes they're post type based, sometimes they're little groups here, and I just want them to all look the same, but without me having to. I mean, I know you can save layouts within the builder. I've not yet got the hang of that. I like to do things centrally in one place, have the layouts in one place, the content in another, and then just to kind of get to work on the site. But yeah, with each site that we do, things are getting better, certainly, and more and more features are being added. And it's lovely to see lots of different plugins available that offer custom modules and things for the Divi builder. I think that if there's one thing that it does lack, it's more module support. They're not really easy, let's say, for a non-technical person to add more modules to it. But with competitors' products, the WP Bakery one, for instance, and I think Site 5 have got one as well, I don't get along with them because they feel a bit clunky, but they do have a lot more modules out of the box. And it's something which the Divi builder have to contend with. So we as developers have to basically do the work for them here and build as many things into this as we can, and make them readily available, so that that people like myself as well, other sort of small businesses who build lots of sites can use these modules to kind of really get more Divi sites out there to keep them using it, really, because it's a great theme.
It is a great theme. All right, Sean, is there anything, I know I've taken up a lot of your Friday afternoon, and I appreciate that. Is there any sort of parting words that you know, we should know about in terms of what's in the future, what to expect, or?
I think I've said enough. It's very hard to talk and not make it sound like a sales pitch, because I'm the guy that's written these plugins, and yeah, great. You know, we're as I said before, you know, they do cost money, but it doesn't matter. I mean, get a copy, have a play with them. You know, we've shown you today exactly how they work. Had a little chat about a few of the ways that you can kind of use the functionality they offer on your sites for e-commerce based, for non-e-commerce based. There's lots more projects and things in the pipeline, particularly more custom modules, a bit more stuff around layouts, but I think, you know, go out there, give it a try, have a watch the videos, have a read of the documentation. If you have any questions, contact me if you like, or I lurk in the Facebook group quite a lot these days. So looking forward to answering some questions and, you know, making these products really good for everybody.
So why don't we do one giveaway of injector for Woo and one for the Divi layout injector for anybody that leaves a comment, either just a shout out or a comes up with a good idea for what they'd like to see from Sean next.
Sure, whatever works.
All right, we'll keep that on for the next like 24 hours, and then we'll pick one. Does that sound good?
Great stuff. No worries. Brilliant. Thanks a lot.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. You're awesome.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in the group.
Great. You do. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.